Sturgeon resign. Salmond's damning evidence finally published ahead of showdown tomorrow. The bitter war of words between Alex Salmond and Nicola Sturgeon exploded into a genuine threat to the First Minister's position last night. Holyrood officials finally published Mr Salmond's written evidence at 7 p.m, clearing the way for his long-awaited testimony under oath tomorrow. In the submission, he claims a cabal of SNP and Scottish Government figures, including Ms Sturgeon's husband, plotted to have him put behind bars. At around the same time as it was published, Ms Sturgeon gave a series of television and radio interviews to insist that her predecessor was not telling the truth. Mr Salmond is due to appear tomorrow in front of the committee probing the Scottish Government's botched handling of sexual misconduct claims made against him. He has accused the First Minister of breaching the ministerial code and misleading the Scottish Parliament. In his written submission, he said, "The inescapable conclusion is of a malicious and concerted attempt to damage my reputation and remove me from public life in Scotland. The real cost to the Scottish people runs into many millions of pounds, and yet no one in this entire process has uttered the simple words which are necessary on occasions to renew and refresh democratic institutions. I resign." The committee now has the opportunity to address that position. If Ms Sturgeon is found to have breached the code, she would be left with little option but to resign. Mr Salmond claims that the evidence supports a deliberate, prolonged, malicious and concerted effort amongst a range of individuals within the Scottish Government and the SNP to damage my reputation, even to the extent of having me imprisoned. He names Peter Murrell, Ms Sturgeon's husband and the SNP's chief executive, and Liz Lloyd, Ms Sturgeon's chief of staff, along with two senior SNP figures, Chief Operating Officer Sue Ruddock and Compliance Officer Ian McCann, as part of the conspiracy. Mr Salmond adds, "There are others who, for legal reasons, I am not allowed to name." He goes on to claim there was a complete breakdown of the necessary barriers which should exist between government, political party and prosecution authorities in any country which abides by the rule of law. The most obvious and compelling evidence of such conduct is contained within the material Crown Office refuses to release. That decision is frankly disgraceful. The inquiry is probing the Scottish Government's botched handling of sexual misconduct allegations against Mr Salmond, which led to him receiving a £512,000 payout for legal costs. He claims Parliament has been repeatedly misled on a number of occasions about a meeting he had with Ms Sturgeon at her home on April 2, 2018 and a meeting with his representative Jeff Aberdeen in her Holyrood office 4 days earlier. But the First Minister told STV News that her predecessor had offered no evidence for his claims. She said, "He has made claims, or he appears to be making claims, or suggestions there was some kind of conspiracy against him, or concerted campaign against him. There is not a shred of evidence about that, so this is the opportunity for him to replace insinuation and assertion with evidence. I don't believe he can, because I know what he is saying is not true, but the burden of proof is on him. If he can't provide that evidence, he should stop making these claims about people, because they're not fair and deeply distressing." A separate investigation by independent lawyer James Hamilton QC is looking into the claims that Ms Sturgeon breached the ministerial code. The First Minister said, "I haven't breached the ministerial code, but that's a matter for the independent advisor on the code to determine, and I will robustly refute any suggestions that I have done so, and I am not going to get ahead of that and start to talk in a hypothetical sense. In terms of the committee inquiry, I am actually quite relieved it is getting to this stage. It's been a long time coming. My own appearance before it, I think, has been postponed 4 or 5 times, so next week hopefully I get the opportunity to address all of the claims that have been made about me and subject myself to legitimate scrutiny."